So, how do you get over a fear of roller coasters and big rides? Well, we've got a little experience with that with me and my son. So, how do you get over a fear of roller coasters? How do you help somebody else do it? Or if you've got the problem, what do you do to get over it? Well, we have a little experience. I told my story a few years back about when I was a little kid and we were at Knott's Berry Farm, and I decided that I was more afraid of being alone than I was of riding this looping roller coaster, which was terrifying to me at the time. Well, once my kids got to the age of riding roller coasters, we had to start dealing with it with them. My daughter was no problem. My daughter's a daredevil. Anything she sees, she wants to ride. To the point where I got in big trouble at Magic Mountain because I let her ride X when I shouldn't have. Oops. Don't tell your mom. Hey, mom, guess what I did? So, my son, on the other hand, was much more nervous and afraid of coasters. So I thought it would be fun. He's shot a short video segment here. So I'm going to kind of have him join me this way, where he's going to tell his side of the story. I'm going to comment and talk about our side, and hopefully you'll pick up some ideas on how to help get over a fear of riding roller coasters.
Hello, I am on my 10-minute break and I have my tea with me. But yeah, so I only really actively remember being afraid of like 3 roller coasters as a kid. I mean, I'm sure I was afraid of more, but those were the 3 that I remember. And that was Goliath, Superman in Magic Mountain, and, well, I guess X also, because I never rode that, and I assume it was because I was scared, but I don't remember.
His mom would have said no.
And She-Ra. I was afraid of She-Ra also. And Goliath, I don't think I ever rode until I was older, because for some reason it was just terrifying to me. I don't remember.
He definitely did not ride Goliath. The height was really intimidating to him. Now, his sister would ride it with me as much as she was allowed to, but he would actually wait for us in the station on the kids' bench.
Any conscious thoughts about that fear. I just remember the feeling, which was, for Goliath, well, see, in my brain, when I finally revisited Goliath, it felt a lot smaller. And Superman also felt a lot.
This is an interesting point. Now, see, when he was young, we had to kind of drag him onto log flumes. That was the one ride that we pushed him that he wasn't as comfortable on, and he had to sit in front of either me or my wife with one of us holding on to him, kind of wrapping our arms around so he would feel secure. He would do log flumes. He would do smaller roller coasters, so mine train style roller coasters. He loved those. He would do the kiddie coasters. Anything above that was going to pretty much be a no. He didn't like it. If he could see it and it looked bigger, it was going to be a no. So he was definitely nervous about anything bigger or that remotely looked scary. And appearance did have a lot to do with it. So yeah, Goliath was a big one, but Superman, the Escape,
smaller. And I know I've only grown a few feet, which is nothing relative to the hundreds of feet.
Yeah, and the visuals was interesting.
But relatively speaking, I am twice as big or more than I was back then, which means the roller coaster is half the size relative. I don't know if that math actually works psychologically, but it feels true. And
that's very interesting. Yeah. That because he's bigger, he feels more secure and safer. It doesn't seem as huge in comparison, which I can see that. When you're a little kid, adults look like giants. Hello up there. So the same thing could definitely apply to roller coasters. So that I can definitely see playing a role. And I think that had the same kind of impact when I was a kid. The big coasters were scary things. And then as I got older, they weren't as big, so they weren't as scary. So hopefully I got the right spot here. We'll see.
Is half the size
Pretty close.
relative. I don't know if that math actually works psychologically, but it feels true. And so, it felt like I was looking at a, 300-foot straight down drop or whatever it was, to my little child brain.
It
And
was 300
Superman,
feet,
I only wrote
255.
once, and that was the entire queue. I was just terrified because I could feel the whole building shake, and it felt like blasting off into space, basically. And, it's only after the initial launch, like a few milliseconds in, that I started having fun and enjoyed it, and I liked it to death. But I never wanted to go on it again because the anticipation was horrible. And
this is very true. If you ever get to go on Superman the Escape at Magic Mountain, it launches you at 100 miles an hour up a 400-foot tower, and then you go back downwards. Well, in this line, in the station, you hear every launch. And the anticipation, the buildup, and the noise just more and more and terrified him. And he got on it, but he was very anxious, worried, concerned. Loved the ride. We got off the ride. He was going, "That was awesome. That was amazing. You want to do it again?" No way.
So, the launch itself was also scary for the first few milliseconds. And for some reason, as soon as I got off, I just reset. Like, it's scary again. All other roller coasters I try and I have fun, and I'm never scared of them again because it was fun. And I can remember that. But Superman, I loved it, and I never wanted to go on it again.
That's good to hear because we couldn't figure it out. I'm like, you love this ride. Why? Because of the anticipation and the noise and the intensity. That makes sense. And that's a lot of it. It's a mental thing. The sounds, the smells, the atmosphere, the music oftentimes adds to the buildup. And so you build up this ride, but if you got somebody that's a little nervous, that's definitely going to add to it. So I almost wonder if like headphones playing other music or something, soothing music, could help people that are nervous because it'll help cut down on that intense atmosphere. Just an idea. So yeah, if you've got somebody who's nervous, think about that atmosphere around that ride and how they're building it up, because that all will add to that.
And SheiKra was kind of similar to Goliath. It also had that straight down drop and was just really big.
Okay, so the nerd in me is going to correct my son. SheiKra is a 90-degree drop. Goliath is a 65-degree drop. It's very different. Goliath is a great drop. I love Goliath's drop. Some people call it a ramp. I like it. But SheiKra's got definitely an intimidating drop to it.
And I was really small, and I think I was a lot more willing to go on SheiKra for some reason, and I don't really know what the difference was.
Okay, so SheiKra for him, he was older, he was bigger. His first big roller coaster was actually Kumba at Busch Gardens, and we've got pictures of him on his first ride on it, holding on. His mom and I are on either side of him holding a hand, and he's got a big grin on his face. So that was his first big coaster that he rode, and outside of Superman. And he enjoyed that. But we were in Tampa for a couple years before SheiKra opened. So age-wise, he was a little bit older. He had gone from 7, I believe, when we moved. So he was 9, almost 10 when SheiKra opened. Makes a difference, that age.
I think maybe part of it was like the size of the train made me feel safer because there's more people around me and it was like a more packed in little space I could hide inside. I don't really know. Something like that.
And I could definitely see that as well. I tell people that there are some rides that will really get to me. If I'm sitting on a roller coaster where I've got a seat and I can see the train and the harnesses, I have no issues. Uh, the there's two rides that have definitely made me nervous. One was Extreme on top of the Stratosphere Tower, where you're basically on a giant teeter totter, and I was in the very front row, where you scoot out and there is nothing below you, nothing around you. You're in a seat with a little lap bar, but there's really nothing in front of you or under you. That made me nervous because you feel like you're hanging out there. The other one, most sky coasters haven't bothered me, but the 300-foot sky coaster at Kissimmee, that one got to me because you're laying there, you can't see the harness, you don't have anything to hold on to. You really feel like that you're just free falling. That got me a bit. So I absolutely can see how a heavier duty train with more seats and wrapped around you is going to feel much more comfortable than something where a floorless coaster, because you can see what's holding you in, and so you can feel safer. And so yeah, if you've got 10 seats across, hey, there's 9 other people on this row with me. One of the other things that we really did with Joseph, though, is we always listened to what he said when he was nervous or scared. Hey, we're not going to force you on a ride that you are not ready for, that you don't want to do. So even with Superman, as scared as he was, when we got up there, like, are you sure you want to do this? Are you ready for this? Do you want to do this, or do you want to bail? And we let him bail if he wanted to. That was not going to be a problem. And there were a couple times that he did bail on Superman before he did eventually ride it. So we always gave our kids that option and let them know that we're supportive. We're here to help them. We'll explain things. We'll show them the coaster. We'll point it out. We tried to give them as much information as they were comfortable with, as they wanted, to help them ride, and never went beyond what they wanted. Like I said, Amber, no problem. Let's go. But Joseph was always a little bit more nervous and building up to it. And so we let him build up to what he was up for. And we would start the days even on the lighter, smaller coasters and work our way up to the bigger ones for the kids. And then once they were like, okay, that's big enough. All right, good enough. So let people work up to what they do, give them the information. Atmosphere will definitely have a role. And have fun. That is the biggest thing. Don't embarrass somebody. And I say this as somebody who used to do this. I used to mock and embarrass people and tease them and try to add to that fear factor. And I look back now and go, wow, that was not good. That was kind of being a jerk. So help people to be comfortable with what they are doing, and it will help them a lot. It will make a big difference in what they will ride and how they'll do it. So I hope that gives you some ideas. Those of you who are not nervous at all about roller coasters, I hope it gives you a little insight into what's going through the mind of somebody that is, and help them work out those fears and be able to build up and ride coasters. If you are a little bit nervous, I hope that helps you understand some of what it is. And we would do crazy things on coasters when people were nervous. We'd sing. Yes, sorry, Craig, I'd sing. We would make funny noises. We would do other stuff on the ride for the kids to distract a little bit from the intensity of the ride and add something goofy and funny, and it would not be as scary that way. The other thing I would definitely encourage, because I know a lot of people do this, don't close your eyes. I know that sounds weird because you're like, I can't look, I can't look. The problem is, if you can't look, you can't see where you're going or what's coming up or what's happening. And so it's really going to toss you around because you don't know what to do. You don't know how to hold on or brace or prepare for it. A roller coaster is actually going to be far less scary with your eyes open, because you can see what's happening. You can know what's happening. You know where you are. So keep your eyes open. Otherwise, you're like a rag doll just being thrown around and you don't know what's happening. So eyes open. That's going to make a big difference. It will help you get over that fear. As crazy as that sounds, it works. It really does. So I hope that helps you. Do you have other tips and tricks for getting over the fear of roller coasters? I'd love to hear them. Please share them in the comments below. I also want to give a huge shout out to my financial supporters, my YouTube members, my patrons. They are a huge help. So a big welcome on YouTube to, and I want to make sure I get this right, to Plum Thief Owl. I believe it is. So thank you so much for signing on to support me. I also want to give a huge thank you to Time Nerd for increasing their pledge and to Theme Park Crazy for joining me. If you have not seen Theme Park Crazy's channel, go check it out. It's amazing. So thank you two so incredibly much for watching. God bless. And how basically I decided I was more afraid of being kind of new dog. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please let me know your thoughts, your comments, your suggestions, your ideas. Be sure to share them in the comments below, or you can contact me. There's information in the description that has my email address, fan pages, information about merchandise, and so much more. So be sure to check that out. Don't forget to hit that like button, share the video, and if you haven't already, hit the button right up there to subscribe. And in fact, if you did enjoy this, I've even got another video for you right here. And also about these wonderful people here, those are my YouTube members and my patrons, the ones whose financial support makes this possible. I couldn't do it without them. If you want to know more about that and the perks that come with it, well, be sure to check the description. There's a link right down there. Thank you so incredibly much. God bless.